Welcome to your Artsy Girl podcast. I am your host, Christina Carrere. This is a podcast about art, poetry, and anything about creativity. Sit back, relax, and get your dose of brain food to get your creative juices flowing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9. My featured guest today is Peter J. Crowley. He is a longtime friend of mine and a fellow artist. He's a visual artist, photographer to be exact. He lived in the same artist co-op building in Art Space Norwich in Norwich, Connecticut. When I was residing there, he was my downstairs neighbor. He took several black and white photography photos of me and my children throughout the years. He has now since moved out to the West Coast, Olympia, Washington, where his daughter and granddaughter resides. I will go ahead and give you a short bio of Peter and then proceed on to our conversation together. Peter J. Crowley's work is in numerous private collections, and his documentary work for Brown University's Rights and Reason Theater is in the permanent collection of the Smithsonian Institute. His work with internationally known choreographer Truda Cashman is in the permanent collection at the Wadsworth Atheneum in Hartford, Connecticut. His works also have appeared in several magazines, including T, a magazine, international circulation of 10,000, two-time contributor to bi-monthly column, Two-Dimensional T, full-page color photos. His work also appeared in The Sun, a magazine in Ideas, literary fine arts journal, international circulation of about 25,000. He was also in the original staff photographer for Hartford Advocate, also for Providence Newport Eagle. Peter also has numerous portraits and performance stills in arts and entertainment sections of the New York Times, Boston Globe, Providence Journal Bulletin, Boston Phoenix, Hartford Courant, Advocate newspapers, as well as other major and local papers across the U.S. and Europe. Please welcome my longtime friend, Peter J. Crowley. Hi, Peter. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm all right for an old guy. How you doing in the warm weather?
I'm doing great. Thanks. I'm so excited to have you on because you are also someone that I have known for quite some time. We've lived in the same artist co-op building in Norwich, Connecticut in, I guess, the early 2000s called Art Space Norwich. And you have taken portraits of me and my 3 children throughout the years. However, I would like to know more about the full story of Peter J. Crowley, the photographer and the person. Like, where are you from? And how did you take up photography?
Well, I got involved in art in my senior. Well, I took art, but my senior year in high school, I decided that I should try to go to college because I didn't want to go to Vietnam.
I see. Okay.
And so I went to well, my final senior project was we did a 3x4 foot copy of my draft card, which the plan was to burn, but I liked it was too good, so we didn't burn it. My real draft card, well, that was another story. And so I went to art school for a year and was involved in the AntiWar movement.
Okay.
And I learned a lot of concepts at Dean College.
Okay. All right. Dean College is where?
I learned at Dean in Franklin. I learned a lot of concepts in Dean College in Franklin, Mass.
Okay. Massachusetts. All right.
About, a short hop to Boston, where I spent a lot of time. But, I did lousy, and then I came back to Connecticut and moved in with some people, started making movies, and thought, wow, I see the world as a slideshow.
Okay.
So I bought a still camera and started working with it, and ended up at Pear School of Art
Where's
in
that?
Hamden, Connecticut.
Hamden. Okay.
And despite it's just out, Hamden's New Haven.
Right.
You know, you could throw a stone from the campus to New Haven.
Are they still around?
Oh yeah, they've become a college now. When I went there, it was a school of art.
Oh.
I don't know what the difference is. I'm sure it has to do with politics and budgets and stuff, but
Right. Okay.
so despite my best efforts, they instituted the draft lottery, and my number came up.
Ah.
So I took an early, even before Ronald and Nancy Reagan came around. I just said no.
Uh-huh.
So I spent a few years living in Connecticut, normal life. And then Jimmy Carter was elected in the 80s. And on my birthday, he issued a pardon to draft dodgers.
Wow.
I was thinking I might send him a card, but I didn't want to push. My birthday just happens to be January 21st, so it was the first thing he did.
Wow.
But I was pleased.
See, I didn't know that about
At
you.
Pear, I started working with, oh, yeah,
I knew there was a lot more to you.
I got a letter. You know what? We lived on the beach in East Haven, and I got a letter from the Justice Department.
Uh-huh.
And it basically said, if you come in, if you go now, well, I read the letter and it said to contact them. And I had my lawyer contact them.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lawyer, of course.
Uh-huh.
And he calls me back and says, they said if you go in now, they'll drop all charges. And I said to him, well, tell them to go to hell. Actually, my whole draft experience was quite a story.
Okay.
When I was being inducted, I had to not step forward. It was really hot that day. And I'm talking with the induction sergeant, and he says, that I'm going to be drafted. I said, well, see you later. I got my car parked outside in a 2-hour parking spot. And he goes, Peter, wait a minute. And he said, if you walk out the door, you'll be charged as being a non-cooperative,
Uh-huh.
which carries the same penalty as draft evasion
Uh-huh.
and is impossible to beat in court. So he said, you stick around and you just don't step forward, and then we go on from there. And it was very nice of him to explain that to me.
Wow.
So then the captain, the induction officer, comes down, and we start walking down the hallway, and we're all complaining about how hot it was. The air conditioning was down. And the captain starts explaining to me how to step forward. And the sergeant says, oh, no, he's refusing. And the captain goes, oh, refusing. And he just explained. It was just like, this is the way it's done. It was very nice. I had a solo ceremony where I didn't step forward 3 times, and then I went out for a beer.
Wow, what a story that is. Now, okay, so the war, anti-war, now, so there was also a movement at, not just only you, but I'm sure there were several other people that felt the same way. So in your earlier works, did you document this through film?
Not really, no. I just continued to live my life. I didn't bring my camera to the draft board, fearing that they wouldn't be nice. And
no, not there, not exactly.
To me that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the whole anti-war movement.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, you don't bring a camera to a march on Washington in the late 60s if you wanted to keep the camera.
I see. I understand that.
Late 60s, early 70s.
Okay. Now, I understand that you are somewhat of a purist. Although you shoot digital, your heart is with film. And also, what is interesting to note is that you do not crop your photos. Can you elaborate for us why you do this?
It's because the photo is mine when I take it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everything that's in that photo, I put there.
Right.
And it's a school of photography. I think it's a school of seeing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, today's world is, let's take 1,000 shots and get one good one and then spend 5 hours in Photoshop to make it better.
Yes.
And all the likes on Facebook roll in. I crop just a little bit now, but that's only because I am using a digital camera, and unlike the film Nikons, it doesn't show you everything that's in the picture.
I see.
So I either crop when I compose or take a step forward.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I'm only cropping edges that I can't see what was there. I'm saddened about the whole photography world.
Why is that?
Because it's overrun with people who shoot 1,000 pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And get one that's acceptable, and it gets raves. And I think that there's so many people doing digital art and using the camera as a starting point. That's all right, but oh golly, I'm trying to think of a quote from somebody. What's the guy? Director of Dr. Strangelove. And he was earlier on. Anyways, he said something to the effect of, "It's not photography anymore. There isn't a name for it. There should be a name for it." Well, he was just commenting on how when he took still photos, it was that moment in time that you're capturing.
Right.
Henri Cartier-Bresson described it as the decisive moment. Pushing the shutter is everything in the image I put there.
Mm-hmm.
Always manual. My image, my control. The decisive moment was Bresson, and the rest of that was me.
Okay. I like that, the decisive moment. It does kind of explain that art form. You seem to embed yourself in the life of your surroundings, where you live. You've lived in Connecticut for many years, living and working as full-time photographer, and now you're out west, Olympia, Washington, right?
Yep.
In doing the same thing there,
right.
Why are you drawn to telling the story of the place through your lens? What is it you are trying to capture, and why?
Sadly, what I'm trying to capture these days is an in-focus picture.
Mm-hmm.
I had cataract surgery on my focus eye in October, and it's a little better.
Uh-huh.
But I can't. I have a lot of trouble at 15 feet or beyond being able to focus the camera. And the only autofocus film camera I have only autofocuses with a heavy lens, a 28-105 Nikon. And I feel that I've got shake there. I know I have shake there. Even at a 250th of a second, the things are always slightly out of focus. Mm-hmm. And I'm somewhat of a perfectionist, so I don't like that.
Okay. But
I'm trying to do some more hand exercises, trying to build strength back up, and fighting to be creative without walking, without getting out and about. It's a little hard.
Right.
I'm not seeing as often as I'd like.
Okay, so I just want to elaborate more on your telling a story, because, I mean, from my experience, or witnessing your work through the years, it's like, especially when you're throughout Connecticut. I mean, you've done a lot of pictures of Norwich and surrounding areas, and to me, you are capturing images to almost tell the story of the place. Is that a correct assumption?
It is, very much. Richard Jaworski, who's a sculptor in Connecticut, very good sculptor, once said to me, "You know what I really like about your pictures? That you tell part of a story, that you allow people to either add a beginning or add an end to make it their own. And that's sort of what I do. I mean, you can't tell a whole story in one picture unless you're doing news work. I try. Another thing that bothers me about today's world is there's no subtleness. There's no nuance.
Right.
It's all about the technology. How did I make this picture? And Callie Sanborn, who used to own the Willimantic Camera Center, a great friend and mentor, say, it's not the arrow, it's the archer.
Ooh.
In today's photography world, it's all about the arrow, what equipment you're using.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's
And I like to say it's not what your camera, it isn't what your camera won't do. It's making your camera do what you want it to do.
Wow. Well, my daughter, Tiana, in her late teens, early 20s, had the privilege to be your assistant intern. And I want to thank you for helping her grow technically and help her create a vision as a photographer. And because of you, she has, her work has grown, I feel. But which do you prefer to work with, black and white or color?
Black and white and film. I was out walking yesterday, surprisingly, down in the Sound. Mm-hmm. The Puget Sound is at the downtown. It's really quite nice. And there was this big tree, driftwood, and I was photographing it. I only brought my digital camera because it was not a good day, health-wise. Oh, no. And as I shot this driftwood, I said, I'm just thinking, this is black and white. This is black and white. And I don't have black and white. I came home and popped it up and tried to convert it to black and white. It's just not there.
No.
And that probably has a bit to do with my computer's bills, but I look at digital black and white all over the place, and you can always tell it's digital. Almost always. Mm-hmm. Everything has to be focused.
You still work with film?
I do. Yesterday, yes, I do. I spent an hour or two yesterday pulling together all the film I've shot here since getting here, and it's only like 25 rolls. One, because I didn't use any film the first year and a half I was here, hardly any. Mm-hmm. And then my eyes started failing, and I don't know.
Well,
I did set up a little studio in my kitchen, but I didn't bring my studio lights. So I make do with what I have. A couple of slaves, tissues over the flash to lower the harshness of it.
Right.
And I've done some studio work here, but I don't have a muse. I don't have it. No one knows me out here. In Connecticut, I could always find somebody that wanted to be photographed by me in the studio. Mm-hmm. Here, I'm just another bozo.
Well, I saw some of your pictures there. I've seen some of your photos there, and I thought you were doing kind of what you were doing here. I've seen the pictures of, shopkeepers and the area, and I was like, wow, Peter is doing his thing out there in Olympia, Washington.
Yeah, from like 2015 into 2016, I was out and about. I could walk to the bus, take the bus down. Downtown, walk around for 2 hours, grab some lunch, walk around for 2 more hours, take the bus back, and walk a half-mile home.
Right.
But then the politics of opioids got involved.
Of opioids?
Yeah, I'm in chronic pain, so I need pain medication, and they closed down the pain clinic that I was going to, so I went for 6 weeks without pain meds, which meant I stayed home for the 6 weeks pretty much, and then it started to rain. When I got the pain meds back, it became late October, and it rained all the time. Wow. So by spring, I was just out of shape. My body had atrophied, and
I'm so sorry to
continuing downhill. I had an orbital. Yeah, I had an eye problem. That's how they found that I needed cataracts, because I had an orbital pseudo tumor. That's a tumor for people who can't afford the real thing.
The cataract surgery.
That was a joke.
Oh.
Well, no. My orbital pseudo tumor was a tumor for people who can't afford a real tumor.
I see. Okay,
yeah.
Peter.
It was just some eye pressure, but they were all freaked out about it. So I'm running back and forth to a specialist in Seattle, which is a nightmare. I don't have a car. Well, I guess you probably knew that from my talking about walking to the bus.
Right. Yeah. No worries about that.
There's some wonderful highlights.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I need a car. I can't drive probably, but I'd love it.
Taking so many photographs through the years, you keep meticulous records and archives of them. Where did you learn this organization? I remember when you took pictures of us and how you printed it all out and you had it all numbered and in a file box. Is this something you learned on your own, or you learned it from somewhere else?
It is. I designed my own filing system for negatives, and it works.
Yes.
It works quite well. Unfortunately, I left a lot of my paperwork in Norwich when I came out here. So I have all the negatives and some of the logs, but it's a lot harder to find stuff now unless you know what you're looking for. It took me 5 or 6 hours of searching to find a picture from the 80s for an actor who now runs a theater in L.A.
Oh, yeah?
And in the past, in Connecticut, with my major paper log, I was annoyed if I couldn't find anything that was beyond 1990 in 5 minutes. I could just go to the log and find,
Oh, I remember.
Give me a rough date on when it was taken. I could go to the log figure out where it was on. But when I moved out here, I wasn't real well. I was kind of depressed. And I threw out a lot of things that I probably should have kept. But
Oh, no. So who has do you have someone holding your stuff in Norwich?
No.
No.
It's all gone.
It's all gone. That's so sad. Are you thinking about coming back to Norwich?
No. I dream about coming to Connecticut, but there's no money and there's no... Nope, Connecticut's just a dream.
Aw.
But I've always felt that I was a metaphor for humanity, a passionate observer commenting on the world, the condition of humanity. So lots of my pictures are observations, are comments. But without people, people look at photos online for 6 minutes. 6 seconds is a long time. And it's just not the same. When I was in Connecticut, I would be at the coffee shop every morning or a bar in the afternoon. And I would always have 8 to 20 new pictures with me. Mm-hmm. And people would sit around and we'd discuss them. And they'd tell me what they saw. And, the tactical feeling of holding a print in your hand, a print that is exquisite compared to the 72 pixel diarrhea online.
Right.
It's so much different.
Well, welcome to the world of people not wanting to read either. So, so it's almost like a lot of the art forms are not being appreciated enough anymore. So, yeah. I understand that.
No, the dumbing down is almost complete.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No. I have shot a lot of people. I might be a little more well-known if I shot famous people, but this really I didn't see a distinction between the famous. I mean, I did portraits for Wally Lamb. I asked him if I could do some portraits for him. And he was just somebody I knew, a friend.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So he shows up in Norwich at the studio, and I answer the door, and he's got a Red Sox hat on. And they said, "I'm sorry, Wally, you can't come in with that hat on."
Who, Wally Lamb?
He stood in the hall laughing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He came up. Oh my gosh, she came with a Boston.
Yeah, Wally and I were on the. We were on the Curbstone Poetry Festival board of directors.
Right.
And we, so we worked together a bit. And I photographed Wally, a lot of jazz musicians. There's someone else I wanted to speak about. When I went to Pear in New Haven, I had a professor, Brian Barry. And Brian, one of the things he said that just stuck with me, he said, every image you make is a self-portrait.
A self-portrait of yourself.
Yep. Yeah, another friend on the same line said that you learn more about the photographer than about the subject if the photograph's good.
Right.
And you don't even know you're learning about the photographer. It's the idea that you can...
Well, you're seeing through their eyes.
You can see the photographer, what the photographer is saying.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You've taken portraits of people from all walks of life and some celebrities. Your work has such great historical significance as a true reflection of what America is all about. This is how I feel. And I hope that State of Connecticut would consider your work in the permanent archives because you truly made a difference in Connecticut's art and cultural identity. I have been so honored to have had you as my neighbor and friend for so long. Thank you for coming onto my show to talk to me today. It's great to hear so much more about you, and I wish you the best of luck there. And my regards to your family. Please keep in touch, okay?
I will. Okay. Nice chatting.
You too. Well, everyone, that is it for now. Tune in to the next show for my next featured guest. I hope you have a great, productive, and creative week. Bye, Peter.
Bye-bye. Look for my work at peterjcrowley.com.
That's right. And I will put that on the notes. Thanks, Peter.